our child become grown. And it's in the text that the father had to stand aside and let his child become a man. And the text says that not too many days after, he gathered himself and he journeyed into a far country. He wanted to go somewhere where nobody knew him. He wanted to go somewhere where he can make a place and a name for himself. And you know, the thing about making a name for yourself is you got to live up to this name you make for yourself. You have to hold on to this character that you now created. You got to be able to have the means, and not just the means, but the dress, everything to match this character that you want to now project unto the world. But the text says that he gets there, and after righteous living, after splurging and having a ball, the funds ran out. I'm reminded of a time when I used to go out. And this story made me think back to when I was in my 20s. I was around 24, 25, 26, in that area. And you know, we was out and was having a good time with my friends, and my friends was having a good time. And you know, it was one of those moments where, you know, I had one of them nice paychecks, you know, one of them extra money on the side paychecks. And we go out and we having a good time. And I'm buying and I'm spending and everybody all happy and joyful. But then when the money runs out, they disperse and they go on their own separate ways. The drinks stop coming, the laughter stops coming, the conversation stops coming, and you find yourself by yourself and you're wondering where all the love goes. And in this text, I want you to understand that in this life that when you have to learn this one thing, that when you have this kind of characteristics, you want to learn that love is not love. You are buying the affection. You are buying the friendship. But one thing I need you to understand that Jesus was trying to teach us that in this walk, in this life that we live, if you just stay in the shelter in the arms of God, you ain't going to pay for nothing. Jesus paid it all a long, long time ago. If you want to be able to understand this lesson the way I understood it, you got to put yourself as a child. And so the boy, he goes and he splurges and he spends all his money. And then it says in the text that he becomes want. And now he don't have no money. Clothes probably look all raggedy now. And he finds himself in an unusual space where he comes from a place where he didn't have to work to now he has to work to put food in his mouth. And so he becomes a citizen to this country, and the country gives him a job in the fields. Not too long ago, I had a conversation with my son, Lil Vern. And Lil Vern and I, we had to talk out some things that were flirts around school and what I want for his life. And when we had this conversation, he understood me a lot better than the previous conversations because I was trying to tell him the difference between when you are able to have a job that you can provide and then a job where you just getting by. And in this particular portion of scripture, the child had a job where he was just barely getting by. More importantly, the text says that he had to deal with the swine. Now, coming from a Jewish family, that was the lowest form of job that you can possibly have. He had to tend to swine. Amen. And the equivalent today, that's like being a bad boy at 26 at a Walmart. When all you can do is beg. When your education only gets you a place where you can't do nothing but be a bad man. You have to understand the place of that person. And even though it's a job and it's a power, don't ever not be proud of your life or your job. But just understand that when you get to a place where you can't provide a real living for yourself, it's different. When you only can have oodles and noodles every night, it's different. When you can't even afford to have anything to eat sometimes, it hits different. And when this man is in this field, tilling to the the swine, he becomes hungry. And the text says, Quamir, that the boy begins to eat the husk that was given to the swine, that was given to the cattle. He begins to eat the husk to feel his death. And when the text tells us that he eats the swine to fill, when he eats with the swine, he sees himself actually entertaining from going from a table with family to now he's surrounded by pigs and cattle and duck. And he's eating the same thing that these animals are ingesting. The scripture says he comes to himself. And as he comes to himself, he says, my father has servants who has bread left over. This child was rich, y'all. He said, my father has servants who has bread left over. And here I am about to starve to death in a pig field. That's what I love about being a parent, church. Because as a